Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I don't know if this is gonna be brief or extensive. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep your families in health if they are healthy, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them health. May Allah grant you and them health if you are not healthy. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, the eternal absolute, who is Al-Hadi, the guide, who is Al-Hakim, the judge, and who is Al-Qahar, the dominant. Praise and glory belongs to Allah alone, who created all things, who is Al-Malik, the sovereign. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. There is no God, there is no deity except Allah alone, who has no partner in his dominion, whether they be imams, prophets, scholars, so-called scholars, or anything like that. So the first thing I want to do is we are to know that, before I get about the path of the believers, to understand that on the day of judgment there will be three different groups. Okay? There will be those on the right, there will be those on the left, those are going to hell, and then there will be those who are sabikun, or those who are foremost in faith. In every generation you will have them. It is not restricted to the first generation. A lot of people have this theory or this notion or this understanding that, and if I forgot, which I don't believe, but since it's so much of a habit, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, I believe I had said that. But we know that the believers will be divided into three categories on the day of judgment. Excuse me, not the believers, but there will be three categories on the day of judgment. Those on the left hand, those on the right hand, and those who are sabikun. Sabikun is those who are foremost in faith, those who do the extra deeds, the more deeds than others. Okay, and that this is not restricted to any generation. Okay, we have a thing where some narrations, and this even in the Sunni and the Shia narrations, one day I'll post that up, but it's commonly more known in the Ahlul Sunnah or Sunni tradition of the three generations, the three Salafa Salihin, three generations, the righteous predecessors. Okay, and what is taught is that you have to follow those three generations. I think I'll do a video separate on focusing on that hadith to show how it's just, completely, it's not what people are making it in to be. But right now we'll just deal with what the Quran says about the sabil, the path of the believers, that the believers are on. Okay, because that is a concept that is being used nowadays to say, well, the path of the companions, you have to follow the companions. Okay, and that you're closing to this thing about the companions. And so we want to get an understanding that that's just not the case at all. So the ayat that is usually used is Surah 4, ayat 115. It goes, وَمَنْ يُشَاقِقِ, whoever opposes al-Rasula, the messenger, min, after or from, badi, ma, what has become clear, tabayin. Okay, so excuse me, tabayina. Okay, tabayina, which comes from the word bayan. Okay, bayan means something that is clear, or a clear evidence, a clear proof. Usually it's called the bayan, an ayat, a certain type of ayat that comes from Allah that is bayan, that is clear. Okay, so has become clear to him, right? So I'll just read it through and I'll go through the thing. And whoever opposes the messenger after what has become clear to him of the guidance, al-huda. And he follows, wayatabi, he follows, because tabi means to follow after something. Wayatabi, other than ghayra, the way, sabili, of the believers, al-mu'minina. It says, Allah will turn him. He will turn them, nu walihi, to what he has tawalla, what he is turned to. And we will burn him, wa muslihi, in Jahannam. Okay, so he says basically, whoever opposes the messenger, after what? What has become clear to him of the bayan. I'm going to put it like that, the bayan. We're going to the root word. Bayan. Which we know if we go throughout the whole Quran, we know that bayan, when it's talking about the clear proofs, it mentions the ayats. Okay, the clear ayats. Okay, but to him of the huda, the guidance, and we know that's guidance, right? And he follows other than the way. The word here, way, is sabil, which means a path of the believers. Then Allah will tawala. Allah will, whatever that person has done tawala, whatever that person has turned to, Allah will let you go there and you'll land you in hell. Why? Because the bad deeds that you do, that Allah's told you not to do, is going to land you in the Jahannam. We know that in other places of the Quran. Okay? So, we're going to focus on the word sabil today. Going to focus on the word sabil today. Fi sabilillah. Okay. Fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillah. Okay. Okay. All right. Sabil. So we want to know what is on the sabil, what is on the path, what are things, because this thing is that the believers follow the sabil, right? They're on the path. How we're usually taught is that we follow the sahaba, we follow the companions, or we follow somebody else, that person, that personality, instead of actually looking at the sabil they're on. Focus is not on the person. The focus is what the person is on, what was brought, you see, and what was revealed that made the sabil, what made the path, because you can only become a mu'min, like it mentions, according to the path that you take. You can't become a mu'min and be on the wrong path. You can't be a mu'min and doing the deeds of a kuffar. You see what I'm saying? You are a mu'min and you're doing the acts of a mu'min. You see? And those acts are what is revealed to us in Allah's book for us to do. And that is what that path is. So we're going to look at a few examples. Just a few, inshallah. And then we'll get to some ayats about the categories, what people are divided into on the Day of Judgment. So, the root word is, let's see if I can. The root word is sabalam. Okay? It means a way, road, path, means of access, method, manner, etc. So, let's look. Okay. a marker thing, man. SubhanAllah. Okay. Waqatalu. Qatulu fi sibilillah al-ladina. Okay. All right. So, Surah 2, Ayat 177. Okay, righteousness is not that you turn your face towards the east or west, but righteousness is one who believes in Allah, the last day, the book, the angels, the prophets, and who gives money out of love for the relatives and the orphans, the needy, the wayfarer, and those who ask, and to the free the slaves, and who upholds the contact prayer, who contributes towards purification, and those who keep their pledges when they make a pledge, and those who are patient in the face of hardship, like i.e. when the believers were at war, under hardship, and adversity, and when in despair, these are ones who have been truthful, and these are the righteous. Okay, these are our mutakuna. Okay. What we see here is wal abna as-sabili wa salina, right? So a lot of they don't understand that Surah 2, Ayat 177, it mentions the word sabil. That is the sabil right there in Surah 2, Ayat 177. It mentions that it is the sabil. So the word, just in case you want to know exactly what it is calling sabil in that ayat. Okay. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. So we have wasabil. In this ayat, this word is used, though that is the sabil, that is the path. The word there is, let me get my phone. This is better for me right here. 2-177. Okay. Sabil traveler. Okay, so in that ayat, it is saying that the traveler, that the part in that mentioned the traveler is actually the sabil. Okay, the person who is on the traveler, he's traveling, he's on the sabil. Okay, so but we know that the path that is marked out for us, that's revealed, all of that is called the sabil that the person is on. But in that ayat, Surah 2, 177, that's just talking about the traveler in that context of the word. So, Surah 2, Ayat 190, and fight in the cause of Allah against those who fight you. But do not transgress, for Allah does not love the aggressors. وَقَتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Okay, qatil is to fight, or actually to kill, right? And when you're involved in defending yourself and you have to fight, qatl is to kill. Okay, but qatilu fi sabilillah, fight in. Fi means in the path of Allah. So the way Allah wants you to do things, even when you're under hardship, just like in Surah 2, 177 had said, right? That they are patient, they have sabr, they have patience in the face of hardship and adversity. So that is the way that you are to be when you're under pressure, or you're to have constant and consistency in the rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have laid down for you. And that is part of the sabil, that is part of the path. You see, that a person takes. A path is something that you do. You see, a certain way that you are, behave with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Again, okay. Mathalu al-Ladina. So in Surah 2, Ayat 261, again we see this for sabil. What is part of the sabil? It says the example of those who spend their money in the cause of Allah is like a seed that sprouts forth 7 pods. Each pod there is 100 seeds, and Allah multiplies for whomsoever He chooses, and Allah is encompassing in knowledge. Okay, so we see that those people they am what lahum fi sibilillah. Okay, kamathali habitan. Okay, they spend in the cause of Allah, in the way of Allah. They spend the way Allah has told them to spend. You see, they're not, for example, other eyes will tell you a person who spends everything, that just gives it all out, right? You're not allowed to do that. A person who keeps the wealth attached to their neck and giving nothing, you're not allowed to do that, right? So Allah has mapped out a sabil, a way that you are supposed to be, right? He's mapped out a way that you are supposed to be, right? And there is a way that you are supposed to be even when you're under pressure, even when whatever situation that you are in. So in this one, it's letting you know they spend their money, they spend their wealth, not money, they translate that, but the wealth in the cause of Allah, right? Fi sibilillah, for the pleasure of Allah. They just do it fi sibilillah. But right here is fasabilillah, in the path of Allah, right? So we see that spending is mentioned there. So that's one thing that's on the path, right? It says, Surah 2, Ayat 273. It says, for the poor who face hardship in the cause of Allah, they cannot go forth in the land. The ignorant one thinks they are rich from their modesty. You know them by their features. They do not ask the people repeatedly. And what you spend out of goodness, Allah is fully aware of it. You see? So this is asiru fi sabil lillah, right? So again, we see the path being mentioned. And what does this person do in the path, right? So we got to understand the path is things that we are told to do and the way that we are supposed to act up under a certain type of pressure, up under a certain type of trials and tribulations in life, right? And a person who remains doing whatever Allah tells them to do within that path that Allah has revealed to them, that person is part of those who are mu'mineen, they're believers, they're secure. Because mu'min, the word iman actually means security, has a form of security to it, right? So they are secure in what they are doing. They've been tried, they've been tested. And people say, like it says, did you think you'll profess to believe and not be tested? While those who came before you were tested much. You see? So the sabil is the path that is tried. The person has walked that path. They've been under the pressure. They've maintained under the pressure. You see? So the sabil is certain things that you do and the way that you, certain things that have been revealed for you to do and the certain ways that you act when you're abiding by what Allah has given you. Alhamdulillah. Again, usually this word, if you notice, is attached to some type of pressure or fighting, the sabil, okay? So, again, he says, Surah 3, Ayat 97, in it are clear signs, talking about the station of Ibrahim. And whoever enters it will be secure. And Allah is owed from people to make pilgrimage to the sanctuary. Whoever can make a path to it, right? And whoever rejects, then Allah has no need of the worlds, right? So in this instance, this is talking about Sibilan. So this person is a traveler. So you understand that the word sabil is the path, but it's also a person who's traveling on the path. You're Sibilan. In this instance, in this context, is talking about migrating, going towards the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But the word sabil is used there. So the word sabil is used. So another one in Surah 3, ayat 146. And many a prophet had a large of devotees fighting with him. They did not waver by whatever afflicted them in the cause, right? In the cause of Allah. So it's fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillah. In the cause of Allah. Nor did they become weak. Nor did they become discouraged. And Allah loves the sabarina, the patience. So many times you'll see that the word sabr is linked and connected to the word sabil, right? Because the sabr is something that you consistently and constantly do. And the sabil is the path that you're on. And the rules that you were given to abide by from Allah, those rules you adhere to. You constantly abide by them, even under pressure. You see? And so that is what the sabil is. That is the path. It may be charity, or you're supposed to give it. What is your attitude when you give it? It may be anything that Allah has told you to do. What is your attitude when you're doing it? Do you have sabr? Are you consistent with it? Are you constant with it? Right? But the sabil, the path that's marked out for you, is what you're traveling on. These are the deeds that you are doing in a certain state of mind. A person can easily go out there and fight. You see? A person can easily go out there and fight. But their mentality, how are they thinking? How are they on it? Are they impatient? Do they give up? Do they say, man, forget the rules, I'm going to just do whatever I'm going to do? Or do they have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their mind, in their struggles? And they say, no, this is how Allah's told me to do it. This is what Allah's told me to do, and this is how Allah told me to do it. So I'm going to go according to how Allah's told me to do it. I'm going to remain sabr. I'm going to remain constant on that. That is what the detail of having a sabil is. And if you Surah 3 ayat 3 Surah 3 ayat 157. Okay, no. I'm not going to quote that. I'm going to quote that. Wa'udu fi sabil wa qatalu wa qatilu la. Okay. I go back. Okay. Hamdulillah. Okay, so the Lord answered them, I will not waste the work of any worker from among you. And this is Surah 3, ayah 195. The Lord answered, I will not waste the work of any worker from among you, whether male or female. You are all as to each other. For those who immigrated and were driven out from their homes and were harmed in my cause. Right? So that's the sabil being mentioned. And they fought and were killed. I will forgive them for their sins and admit them to estates with rivers flowing beneath them. A recompense from Allah, and Allah has the best recompense. Okay, so now we're talking about those of the past generation in the time of the Prophet who maintained on the path that they were given, and they maintained it in the way that they were supposed to maintain it. And Allah gives them reward. You see? So what we have to realize is that this ayah don't say sabikun, but sabikun is those who foremost in faith, who strove, right? And real quick, I want to get into this real quick. So I want to clarify something. We are often taught that when it says, let's get the ayat again. I'm going to get the ayat up. Surah 4, ayat 115. Go back to that. And whoever opposes the messenger after what has become clear, tabayina, right? But it's the root word is bayan, right? Which means something clear, and usually it's referring to ayats. Allah has revealed certain type of ayats. There's different types of ayats. Allah has revealed clear ayats. Okay, but after Allah, after what has been made clear to him, the guidance, huda, and he follows wayattabi, right? And he follows a path or a way, sabil. That's mentality. That's how you do what Allah is giving you. See, he follows, but this one is more sense of what Allah has exactly told you to do, what the messenger has exactly told you to do. It's clear. If you, like for example, he says give the zakat, do the salat, give the zakat, whatever he's told you to do, right? And you follow opposite of that. You decide to go away from that. Tawalla. The word here is tawalla. It says, and you follow the sabil, path other than believers, we will turn him, nuwalihi, to what he has turned, tawalla, and we will burn him, wa nuslihi, in jahannama, in the hell, right? So understand, it's not the, and people get stuck on this. You see, the believer, what makes a believer is the path that that believer is on. The sabil that that person is on is what makes that person becomes a believer. You see, we are taught today to be stuck in the Sahaba or certain individuals among the Sahaba, or if you're in another sect, you know, people in other sects, they get taught to get stuck on another personality, right? Who was on the sabil, okay? But you come after them and you are given the same sabil. You're given the same rules. You're given the same way that you're supposed to act and react and think and to follow with the same path. If you follow that path, those rules, those laws, those ways of understanding, and I'm talking about what Allah has revealed, you follow that he revealed through his messenger, you then become one who is on the sabil, and you become one who is a mu'min. So it was never the personalities that get wrapped up into, oh, people talk about Imam Ali, or people talk about Abu Bakr, or people talk about Umar, or people talk about Uthman, or people talk about Zubair, and all these people that came and they had their chance like you have your chance to be on a sabil. And if you choose a path, a sabil other, then what makes you a believer, Allah is going to land you in hell. Because a believer is only a believer when they are on the sabil. But we get focused nowadays into saying, oh, what did Abu Bakr do? What did Umar do? What did Ali do? But what they did, if they did it, is something that Allah revealed through his messenger for them to do as far as the good deeds you're given inside the book of Allah. You see, it's not the personalities that you're supposed to focus on. It's the path, the sabil that you're supposed to focus on that made the personality. What was Abu Bakr before the Quran was revealed to the Prophet? What was Ali before the Quran was revealed to the Prophet? The society was in loss. They were on the brink of the fire. Does it not say that in the Quran? That he united their hearts. He made them brothers. And they were on the brink of the fire. And they told them to hold fast to the rope of Allah and be not divided. For you were enemies and we made you brothers. What is it that made them brothers? What is it that made them united? It was the sabil. It was the path that Allah revealed for you how to live your life, how you to act, how you to think, how you supposed to live your life, and how you're supposed to approach it. You see? But we get stuck. But people keep telling us that's the first generation. You have to follow in the way that they thought. The way that they thought is according to the way that Allah has revealed in his book. You have it today and I have it today. It's not about being stuck on personalities. It's about being stuck on the path they took. The path they took. The path they took. And that path is here. Inside Allah's book. That you too have to take. And you will be divided into 3 groups. After that on the day of judgment. Those on the left. Those on the right. Those who did good deeds. And those who are foremost. Those who sabikun. These 3 categories in the time of the Prophet existed. Inside the Quran it mentions it. Those on the left who were just doing the bad deeds, munafiqeen. Those who did the good deeds, the general believers. Those who were foremost, they did the extra good deeds. They were sabiqeen, they were the forerunners, they were the forward, they were the first to do it. They did it the best. And best meaning that they did the most out of the believers, they did the most deeds, that was able to be documented at that time, right? So that's what I want to focus on. Because we dealt a little bit what's on the path. What's on the path, you can look up the word sabil in the Quran and follow all the way through and you'll get all those things. Charity, being patient when you're fighting in the cause of Allah. And that sabil is that you're going by those rules that Allah's giving you when you're fighting. Okay? So if Allah says no innocent people, that's what Allah means. He don't need for you to come and do an ijtihad, a so-called ijtihad, and you become a partner with Allah in legislation, and you invent your own rule and you go kill innocent people. No. See? The way Allah has marked it down through His messenger and gave it to you in the book of Allah, that is the way that you follow. That is the way you think. So we're going to go to Surah 56. Ayat 7 and 4. Or excuse me, 7 to 14. So Surah 56, Ayat to 7:14. These are the three different categories. Allah says, and you will become three classes. Those on the right, what about those on the right? And those on the left, what about those on the left? And the forerunners. Those are the nearest in gardens of bliss, a throne from the ancients. Listen, a throne from the ancients. And it says, a small band from the latecomers, those who come later. Now understand this ayah was revealed when? During the time of the companions, right? During the time of Ahlul Bayt. During the time of the Mu'mineen. So, when this ayah came down, Allah told them there was people in the ancients that were sabikun, they were forerunners. There's people in the past who were on the left, people in the past who did the righteous deeds. That too, you got to understand, that is the sabil. Those people had the chance to do the sabil. So even before Prophet Muhammad SAW came, the sabil was already there. It had to be revealed again. You see? To remind. That's why it's a dhikr. The Quran is the dhikr, a remembrance. To remind the people. Right? And the rules were revealed specifically catered to sometimes to the society of like burying female baby girls. Okay, in their society, they were astray in certain ways of bearing female girls, little baby girls. So they had an ayah had to come, and the ayah had to tell them, don't bury female baby girls. You see, but the underlying meaning to that is what? Do you oppress the children? Of course, there's other ayahs that say stuff similar to that. But my point is just pointing out specific. So on the general level, there's always been the sabil. Okay, there's always been you give the charity. In the time of calamity, you face it. You remain sabil. You remain firm. In the time of this, you do this. Towards the poor, you do this. Towards the traveler, you do this. Towards this person, you do that. To the neighbor near you, you do this. To the neighbor far away from you, you do this. See, these rules are part of the sabil. And we all have those good deeds that we are to do that gets us into the Jannah. And the mercy of Allah aids us in getting to the Jannah, because for every good deed you do, Allah multiplies it. So he says in Surah 56, ayat 7 to 14. Notice he says, at that time that this ayat was revealed, he says, you will become three classes. Those on the right, those on the left. Then he says, a throne from the ancients. A throne, a greatly group from those who came before. He said, and a small band from the later days. And that's talking about being the forerunner. Okay? That's talking about being the forerunner. Sabakun. Okay? So, That's us in this generation. Some of us will be sabikun. Some of us do the better deeds than the other believers do. My point in saying that is that people sometimes, they make it restricted. They say, oh, in the time of the Sahaba, there was those who were righteous, and then there was sabiqun. There was those who were the first that migrated to Medina. They were the first that migrated from Mecca. And then they get us stuck. They get us stuck. They get us stuck on the fact or the act that they were the first and foremost, those specific people. But we rarely get told that sabiqun, those who are the forerunners, those who are the best, are also in these generations. Don't let people restrict you to 3 generations. Because those 3 generations, they had the sabil that's in the book of Allah. And you now have the sabil that's in the book of Allah. And their understanding was in the book of Allah. You see, people think that when they say, oh, when you know your Islam, you take it from the Sahaba, you have to take their understanding. They don't understand what they are saying when they say understanding. Because just inside the book, it told you what understanding Allah wants you to go through when you're in hardship. You see? That is the same understanding. And if they successfully did it, that is the understanding that they went by then. You're literally reading the understanding that they went by then, if they did that. And now it's your turn. Because we today have a lot of trials. You see, we today are going through problems and struggles and stuff. Look around you. Look what's going on in the world even right now. So you have your trials that you're going through, and you will be judged according to the same standard that they were judged. You see? So it's not for just 3 generations. And I will be doing a thing on that hadith, inshallah, to show you the context of it. And it is not what people are making it into. Okay? It is not. And first of all, in order to make it into that, it has to coincide with the book of Allah. If a person was to even do something like that. But as we just showed you in the book of Allah, in the ayat, Sabikun, those forerunners, that will be in every generation. Not just 3 generations. You will be given the opportunity like they was given the opportunity. Do not be stuck on personalities, because that is what sects want you to do. They want to take personalities and exalt them to a certain standard where you're confined and you're stuck to that personality, not telling you, though, the reason why that person has that personality is because of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed and what they practice from what Allah revealed. You have the same access as they had. So you can be exactly on the same level as they are. And that was in Surah 56, ayat 7 to 14. Let's look at another one. Excuse me, let me finish that. Okay, I'll continue actually. And those on the right. And what about those on the right? Then it describes what they will be. And lush orchards and sweet smelling plants. And then Allah says what? It says, and that's in Surah 56, ayat 27 to 29. Then he says, for those on the right, a throng from the ancients, and a throng from the laters. And those on the left, what about those on the left? Then it says, amid searing wind and boiling water, a shadow of thick smoke. Surah 56, ayat 38 to ayat 43. These ayats apply to all generations. All generations. These 3 categories. Those on the left, those on the right, those who are foremost. It's not restricted to 3 generations. And anything that 3 generations had, we have. You have a chance just like they are given a chance. I'll show you this. And another way it mentions it. Here's the proof for you. This all proof, but here's be more bayan. This will be more clearer. Surah 35, Ayat 32. It says, then we passed the book. The what? The writing. The book. Some people say kitab, writing. Some people say kitab, book. However you want to translate it. It's something that a person's reading and a person that's going to recite it and a person that's supposed to go by it. So it says, then we passed the book to those of our servants whom we chose. Is there a restriction there? You see 3 generations restricted there? Nope. Then we passed the book to those of our servants who we chose. Some of them wronged their souls. Some of them follow a middle course. You see the linking up. Those on the left, those who do good deeds. And then what does it say? And some are foremost in good deeds by Allah's permission. That is the greatest bounty. So in the same way, Allah links the 3 positions. And this time he mentions the book. And of course that is in place of the other ayat that said sabil. The path is the book of Allah. So what about those came before us? Remember the one ayat that said the ancients, or those who came before. Awalin. Those who came before, right? So the first, or those who came, it depends on the context, how it's used. But it's reference to, in this item about the quote, to the Ahlul Kitab, to the Christians and Jews. Allah says in Surah 3, Ayat 113 to Ayat 115, He says, had they observed the Taugh't, and the Injil, and what was revealed to them from the Lord, they would have consumed amply from above them and from beneath their feet. Among them is a moderate community, but evil is what many of them are doing. Allah says, they are not alike. Among the people of the book is a community that is upright. They recite Allah's Ayats throughout the night, and they prostrate themselves. They believe in Allah, the last day, and advocate righteousness and forbid evil, and are quick to do good deeds. They are among the righteous. Whatever good they do, they will not be denied. Allah knows the righteous. You notice this same division. Those who went wrong on the left, those who were moderate in the middle, those doing good deeds, and those who were foremost. So this even existed among them. And this is the division that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives those who are revealed the book. Because often the word abid, is referring to even humanity as a whole. You're going to have to serve Allah. You're going to have to adore Allah in some type of way or manner. You see, even your very heartbeat adores when it moves. So if you're not consciously adoring, your body's adoring. So you're included in among those who are adoring Allah. Ibadah don't just mean to worship, really. It means to adore something, to uphold something. Well, the English word. I don't mean the word qiyam like uphold, but you can synonymously sort of apply that, But ibadah is like something that you look greatly up to, right? And so that is why it's called, when you worship, you greatly look up to Allah. He's so high, and you can connect other words to that. The subhanallah, like when you say subhanallah, glorifying Allah, that also is a form of upholding the glorification of Allah. Allah's beyond any imperfections that you want to perceive or think of. Allah's more glorified than that. Allah's glorified than that. So that's what we have, the forerunners. So we have the same division applies to in the time of the Prophet. Like we said, among them were people that were sinners, kuffar, they were munafiqeen, right? You have people that would repent, they did tawbah, they would correct their iman, right? And then you had the forerunners, right? You had sabiqun, you had those who had great deeds and deep iman, right? So, uh, let's see. Surah 9, Surah 9, Ayat 100 to 102. It says, let's see, the forerunners, the first of the immigrants and the supporters, and those who follow them in righteousness. Allah is pleased with them, and they are pleased with Him. He has prepared for them gardens beneath which rivers flow, where they will abide forever. This is the sublime success. Then it says, among the desert Arabs, Al-Arba, around you there are some munafiqeen, hypocrites, and among the inhabitants of Medina too. They have become adamant in hypocrisy. You do not know them, but we know them. We will torment them twice. Then they will be returned to a severe torment. Others have confessed their sins and have mixed good deeds with bad deeds. Perhaps Allah will redeem them. Allah is indeed all forgiving, most merciful. So we see the different categories right there too. So the same categories we had then is a category we have today. I'll go a little bit more. Let's see. Actually, the ayat Surah 9, ayat 100 to 102, that actually refutes the idea of things being restricted through 3 generations. Okay? Because people don't understand that sometimes people quote these ayats. They restrict it to 3 generations. And they say you have to follow their understanding. But people don't quote the other ayats to tell you their understanding comes from the book of Allah. So if you have the book of Allah with you, and that was their understanding, then where did they get their understanding from? You see? Because people want to play the sectarian game with you. They want to pick certain people when they want to pick certain people of the past generations. And they say, these are more righteous. You have to follow them. Some people argue between Salaf and Khalaf. Khalaf means those who come after. Whether it's Salaf or whether it's Khalaf, they all have equal chance to abide by and understand how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed it through His messenger. There is no restriction. There is no generation specific you have to follow, except that you follow what they was following. What was they following? The understanding in the book of Allah that they read, they studied the book, and they taught it, and they applied it to themselves, and they became elevated because their personalities got cleansed, they got purified, so they become known. And you have the same opportunity too. And that's why on the day of judgment, Allah is going to put us in them 3 categories. You're going to be standing right there next to some Sahaba. You're going to be standing right next to some Ahlul Bayt in those categories. And on that day, all these people arguing over what's Sahih and whatever what, then you can sit up on the couch with them in the paradise in the Jannah, and you could say, you know, they used to say you did this and you did that. Is that Sahih? Or is that Eve? Then you'll find out. Until then, can't none of them tell you. Unless you see something in the book of Allah, you know, whoever went by this, if they went by it, they're guided from their Lord. You see? I don't mean to disrespect. And I don't mean to belittle or make fun of nobody. Or see myself up here, somebody down there. None of that. SubhanAllah, none of that. But we got to be free. And we got to be free on many different levels. You see? This is for all times. It was revealed for the Alameen. And no one has monopoly. No one has monopoly over categories. You see? No one has monopoly over the categories. Now, we know that there are certain revelations that Allah revealed to the Prophet that concern the future. The Roman event, like when the Romans have been defeated in a land nearby, right? But Well, I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that hadith, the 3 generation hadith. The Shias have one too. They actually have 4. It says 4 generations, and I think I'll go get that because I was doing my studies some years ago, and I came across that hadith in the Shia tradition too. But they have it too, except they say there's 4 generations, not 3. So either way, the 3 classes and following behind people, you the only people Allah ever sent to you throughout the belief in Allah, belief in the angels, belief in the prophets, belief in the book was the prophets. Allah sent you the prophets, and they are to give the books, and you are to follow the books. And those are divinely appointed books that Allah has appointed you, not books that you make up, books of hadith that you make up. So when they tell you you have to believe in this hadith book, or you got to go by this sheikh, or you got to go by this scholar, or you have to go by this person in this generation, you say, no, we all are equal. We all have the equal chance to reach the stage of whatever, whether it is negative or whether that is positive or whether that is the best of stages. We all have that equal amount of chance that Allah has revealed in this book. So this deen never came about the personalities. This deen came about rules and laws and morality that you would shape and purify yourself by. And when you purified yourself according to what Allah gave you, then as you purify yourself, people who know you, they can look at you and say, wow, subhanallah. And that is supposed to be a reflection of the revelation. What the deen, what the book of Allah can do for a person. It's never about the individual person that you're supposed to praise this person and only follow that person's understanding and that's it and block everything. No, never that. Allah doesn't even allow that for the prophets. That a person, that Allah will give him the book, the scripture, the book, the prophethood, and then say, be my ibadan, be my servants, adore me to the heights, right? But instead say, he would tell you what? Be Rabbiina for what you have studied of the book and what you teach from it. You see? So it is the message that the messenger brings that elevates and purifies people. And they become guided in their lives. And they are upon a sabil from their Lord. Sabilillah. Sabilillah. So the path that the mu'mineen was on, the companions was the sabilillah. The path of Allah that Allah revealed. So you have that equal chance like they had the equal chance. Let's continue. I only go a little bit. But for those who want to say, and then I'll just deal with that hadith sometime later. But basically, those who want to say that hadith meant a future prophecy, because a brother told me, oh, the 3 generation hadith means a future prophecy. And when we went over the hadith and we went pretty in depth, I said it doesn't say this. It doesn't say follow the 3 generations as far as their understanding or whatever that they come up with. Not this one. So how would people getting this and they're using other ahadith to interpret into that situation when those ahadith don't even deal with that situation? Neither in this context either. But I'll do one on that. That was basically saying, that at that generation they upheld to the shaheed, their witnessing, and the oaths they would give. They would witness to something and they would swear an oath. You see, and they were the generation that was noble like that. Then it says that after those 3 generations, other people will not do that. They will not uphold to they will not bear witness and uphold to the oaths like they're supposed to, right? Something to the effect of that. That's all that was really talking about, besides the mention of righteousness. And the righteousness was linked with that the people, when they bear witness in a righteous way. That has nothing to do with taking their understanding of what is in the Quran or what is this or what is that. That don't have nothing to do with that. Okay, but we'll get to that. But here's an ayat that'll make you think about that though, and that was this ayat. This is my pad. Hold on, excuse me. I don't know what I was doing. So, looking like. Okay. So, excuse me for a second. Look. So I didn't put that. I forgot to put that ayat up there. Sometimes I gotta, like when I do it, I gotta ahead of time. I gotta put the ayats up there and pick through the stuff and put the ayats up there and then make sure it's formatted. And I didn't. That was part that I forgot. Uh, hold on. Mm, 46, Surah 46, ayat 9. Surah 46, ayat 9. 46, ayat 9. Okay. Excuse me about that. 46. Make sure it's, yeah. Yep. Whenever our clear revelations are recited to them, I'll tell you what. All right. Okay. Say, I do not say to you that I possess, and this is the response when the disbelievers came to him. He says, just had it. All right, so we're going to go actually 46, 7, and then we'll go to 9. Whenever our clear revelations are recited to them, the disbelievers say the truth. When it has come to them, this is pure magic. Or do they say, he has fabricated this Quran? Say, O Prophet, if I had done so, then there is nothing whatsoever you can do to save me from Allah. He knows what is best. The slurs you indulge about, sufficient is he as a witness between me and you. And he is the all-forgiving, most merciful. Now this is the part that I wanted to refer to. And he is the say, I am not the first messenger sent, nor do I know what will happen to me or you. I only follow what is revealed to me, and I am only sent with a clear warning. So, that's 46, 9. Now we have also okay, we got this. Say, do I not say to you that I possess the treasures of Allah, nor do I know the future, nor do I say to you that I am an angel. I only follow what is inspired to me. Right? And you can find that also in Surah 6, ayah 50. You can also follow what has been revealed to you from your Lord. There is no God but He. And you can see that in Surah 6, ayah 106. So we see clearly that the Prophet don't know the future. And what we found out also in other ayats is that the future that Allah has revealed to him comes through inspiration. But it's the inspiration you see every time it comes from the Quran. Okay? So the thing about it is that restricting things to the 3 generations, that's not mentioned in the book. We have ayats about the Romans that will be defeated in the land nearby. That was a future prophecy that was revealed to him inside the Quran. We have even Allah saying He showed him inside the Quran the vision, right? And He showed to them the enemies, the disbelievers. He showed that they were few in numbers, and then to them the disbelievers saw the believers are large, right? So we have these things in the Quran though. Where in any of that do you see things are restricted to 3 generations? Now that we have a proof from our Lord that he can tell us in the Quran future events, where do we see that there will be only 3 generations that we have to follow? It doesn't exist. And on top of that, people have to understand you can't just come with an idea or a concept. You have to be based in the book of Allah. And the ayat that talks about whomsoever takes a path other than a believer, we saw that word is sabil. And we also know that that part of that sabil is the way that you think, what you do up under pressure, or what you do with what Allah has given you and the rules that Allah has given you what to do. That is the sabil. So that also has nothing to do with restricting yourself to 3 generations. And we also saw that people, regardless of what generation, they were divided into 3 classes. Those on the left, those on the right who do good deeds, or some cases they mix the good and the bad, but for the main part they're good deeds, and those who are foremost in faith, those who are sabikun, those who are the forerunners, who do the best of these, who are nearest to Allah. That is including all generations. Yeah, that was a hadith, yeah. The one that talked about that there's 3 generations restrict you have to follow. And so I was just showing the Quranic ayats, there's no restriction like that. It's completely opposite, matter of fact. Those 3 categories, anybody could be sabikun, anybody could be on the left, anybody could be on the right. And the understanding that you're given on the sabil, that's inside the book of Allah. So that sabil, that path that's of the believers, that path is in the book of Allah. That we all have to engage, and then we become those believers who are on a path. So that's why it says, whomsoever turns himself to a path other than the path of the believers, Allah will, you did tawalla, you turned yourself, Allah lands you in hell. Why? Because the sabil, the path itself, are the rules that Allah has revealed, and the way that you're supposed to apply these rules in your life when you're up under hardship. You see? So it's about the sabil that's revealed. It's not about the believers come after they follow the path. You see? After you implement it into your life, you become a mu'min. That becomes your path then. That is how you know that this person's a mu'min, because the path or the way that they're on, the way that they are, the way that they act, the way that they behave, that come from Allah. So it was never about 3 generations and you follow their understanding of them specific people, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, this person, this. No. This deen was never about personalities, except that what Allah reveals, what type of personality will make you in, what Allah will make you into. You see? And you have that same equal opportunity to be made into a purified person who is following on the path of Allah in the way of Allah that Allah has told you to do. And you will be divided into 3 categories like they will be divided into 3 categories. And on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, you'll be standing right next to them. And there's people that will be promised paradise just like they were promised paradise. You followed what Allah told you to do, and just like they had followed it, and how they followed it, they knew how to follow it because it's in the book, how to follow it. Because they studied the book and they applied it to their life and it changed them. And it can do the same for you. But we cannot be stuck in a form of, and I have to say the truth of the matter, a form of idolatry, a form of, we respect anybody that Allah has been molded. You understand? Any movement, anybody that's taken this path, we respect. Alhamdulillah. But it's not about that person. It is about what Allah has revealed for you to follow, to inculcate inside your life so that you become that movement. And you will be with the rest of the mu'mineen on the day of judgment. You see? So, we are not to get stuck onto the personalities of people. We are to look, and we can look at them and say, oh, subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, I want that path. What path are you on? And you hold this up. Tell them, I'm on this path. When you tell them, brother, I didn't do this on my own, right? I didn't reveal this, right? I didn't reveal this. Allah revealed this. See, that's why it's called sabilillah, the path of Allah. And so that is the path that the believers were on that made them actually become known as believers. So you turn from this path right here, this way, you don't go by the good deeds it tells you to do, and you go by the opposite, the bad deeds it tells you not to do, like oppressing people and stuff like that, it'll land you into hell. So this is the path of the believers. Hamdulillah. I hope that I hope that clarifies some things, you know. Let's see. What was my last thing? I give you some eyes to look up. Put it in my thing real quick. Go look up, besides the ones that I named off. Go look up Surah 9, Ayah 42, Surah 9, Ayah 107, Surah 4, Ayah 62, Surah 4, Ayah 81, Surah 4, Ayah 105 to 113. You'll see people telling lies to Prophet Muhammad. Okay. Now, you heard what I just explained, and then you go look at that, you'll make the connection. We're not stuck in no generations. That was never the aim of the Deen. The same Deen that Allah gave to you is the same Deen that He gave to Noah and Abraham and Isa and Musa, right? All you got to do, like the brother just said, all we can do is try. Alhamdulillah. That's all we got to do is try. You make your effort. You're not going to, no, listen, this is a life thing, and we grew up in a society where we're stuck in a certain type of mentality, just like they were, and we have to strive. We have to do jihad within ourselves, just like they did, you know, and we have to implement as best as we can. We're going to mess up. We're going to make mistakes, but Allah is merciful. Those who have the good intention, Allah knows, you know. Those who purposely just don't care at all, they want to live the wrong life, you know, then they will receive their punishment, you see, for the oppression that they have caused on the earth, you know. So I mean, you just try your best. It's really simple, you know. It's really simple. It's not a lot of rules. Once you got everything strictly to the Book of Allah, the rules are not hard. They're not hard, you know. Be good to your neighbor. Be good to yourself. Be good to your family. Be good to the neighbor. The one close, the one far. You know, the orphans. Be good to the orphans. Don't look at them. Don't snarl at them. Oh, get away from me. Oh, I don't care about them. You know, the poor, the traveler, the poor, the needy, the traveler. Those who even ask. Don't look up somebody. Oh man, what you asking me for? Then I don't mean being. Allah has protected you too, though. Allah not telling you be stupid, or as some people call a sucker. Okay, Allah says don't give everything so as you won't have nothing, right? And don't also keep it tied to your neck so as to give nothing. So if a person trying to take advantage, Allah's already gave you an ayat to deal with that person trying to take advantage. You see, the Book of Allah is balanced. You see, it's balanced. It's not this way or that way. That's why it's incorporated to Surat al-Mustaqim. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Those who follow this the way it's supposed to be followed, you have no problem. You just look for the Muhakima Ayats, literal, clear Ayats, Bayan, and you follow it. And they're simple rules. And I'm going to explain something real quick, because we got to remember when these Ayats were revealed, what was going on. The society it was revealed to was doing what? Neglecting orphans, neglecting the poor. The powerful would oppress the weak. They was doing highway robbery, right? It was jacking people. As people come by and they'll hop out and take their stuff, right? They were doing poetry. The lyrics that they quoted, the lyrics that they said, it wasn't true what they were saying about themselves sometimes. They were just inventing lies, right? And even if they did do the wrong things that they were saying, that was called doom, oppression. And Allah wanted people to cut that out, to stop that. right? Oppressing the women, oppressing the little babies, burying them alive, not giving women wealth, not giving women inheritance, right? Wouldn't give their wives, if they did have wives, they wouldn't give their wives right. They would say, you're like the back of my mother, right? These are actually simple rules. If you remember how they were violating, and then you read the ayats of what to do, you understand what Allah wants you to fix within yourself. And the society around you is mimicking. You're mimicking the society around you, and they're mimicking you in the wrong that we do. Okay? It's really more simple than people have made it. But because people have made and added extra laws and extra even fiqh rules and interpretations and this and that and this and that, now we got, when a person say do good, you're like, okay, well, man, it's deep. It's a lot. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's very simple. That's why Allah said He made the Deen easy. And that's why deep down inside your heart, inside your soul, no one will say this out loud, but they will sit there and say, okay, if this Deen is so easy, how come it seems so hard? Right? How come it's so complex? It's because the people made it complex. Because they added to this. The prophets came with the divine books. Every prophet that was sent, that Allah sent them with. That's it. But, like every generation, people get stuck on personalities. They got their favorite man. They got their favorite woman. They like the way that they deliver and orate. So they get attached. And then when that person dies, they say, you know what? I'm going to write something down about this person. Or during their life, they write little things about that person, notes. And then they take them notes and they make them part of a creed. And they become part of a creed. They become attached to the book. And then you get students. And when you get students, then you keep them enclosed in that. Now that is Islam. Then people break off into different groups. You see. Now we got these favorite personalities over here. These favorite personalities over there. Your favorite personality is not the same personality that I like. So you're on the wrong path. You're deviant. They alter a simple deen into something complex. Mutashabiha, ayats, they were never meant to be made complex. That's for individuals who are studying and they elevate, with themselves, with understanding them through the muhakimat. We're really supposed to focus on muhakimat. Allah elevate the mutashabiha, you see, and then don't argue over mutashabiha. That's the problem. Don't argue over mutashabiha. You ain't got no right to argue over mutashabiha. It's not mandatory for a person to follow your understanding of mutashabiha. That's for individual spirituality. See, you share it with the people. You make it clear to the people. Hey, this is not mutashabiha. This is when you're talking about muhakimat, it'd be good if you say, hey, these are muhakimat. So a person knows. And these are mutashabihat that I'm studying, and this is Allah has elevated me on this level to understand. You don't have to go by what my understanding of mutashabih is for my spiritual elevation. I'm just sharing what Allah's elevated me to. You see? And you leave it there. But don't make that into a sect or a group, and then a person's mandatory bound to follow it. And now you got students, and they can't distinguish between what Deen is, between what Allah revealed as rules and laws that all of us are supposed to follow, between your personal ascension that Allah has spiritually elevated you to. SubhanAllah. So, with that, I'll be closing out with this. Surah 2, Ayat 166 to 167. It says, to translate it, those who were followed will then disown those who followed them, and they will see the torment, and ties between them will be severed. Those who followed will say, if only we can have another chance, we will disown them as they disowned us, and Allah will show them their deeds as regrets to them, and they will not come out of the fire. Do not blindly follow personalities. especially written in hadith books. Grab the book of Allah, find out what they were on, and follow it yourself. Because on the day of judgment, your Lord is not going to ask you about Abu Bakr, Omar, Abdullah ibn Masud. No, none of them. You're going to be asked about your own deeds, your own account. And subhanAllah, you don't want to be the one on the day of judgment to say, why, Abu Bakr did this and it, number one, then you're going to be asked for proof, probably. I don't want to speak no more on that. What's going to happen exactly, because I need to rate the ayats to you to tell you that. But here's what I do know. Your deeds going to be brung up, and it's going to be told to you sharp as your vision today for you to read your account. Okay? You talking about, but I was, somebody said and they wrote in the book, was that a divinely revealed book? Did I send that to you through my prophet? I sent the prophet. I told you, believe in Allah, believe in the angels, believe in the books. What books? Those are the books the prophets brought. Those are the same books the angels revealed. Was that the book you got it out of? Or did you go somewhere else? Yeah, but the people were saying. That's not going to be, you're not, sorry. That's not what you was told. It's literally right there as Muhakimat. We send the prophets with books. Those are the ones you're supposed to be going with. That other stuff, well, subhanAllah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, who is Al-Hadi, the guide, who guides us in different stages. Praise and glory belongs to Allah, who gave us eyes to be able to see with, hands to lay hold with, feet to walk with, and minds to think with. And Allah, who guides us in our hearts and inside of our minds to the way that is the straight path that is in Surah 6, Ayat 151, 1 to 153, which are rules that Allah has revealed, which is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Glory and praise belongs to Allah alone, who is Al-Malik, the sovereign, Allah Al-Hakim, who is the judge, and Allah Al-Qahar, who is the dominant. Praise and glory belongs to Allah alone. May Allah bless all the mu'mineen, continue to guide us. And know Allah, let not our hearts go astray after you have guided us. And know Allah, as you have guided us on the straight, if you have guided us on the straight path, guide us even more on your straight path. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and your families, and keep y'all in, health if you're healthy, and if you're not, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you the health so that you could live another day to be able to add good deeds to your accounts. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless all of y'all. Indeed.